Hi, on this class we are going to discuss animations, the explosion and the smoke, etc. And we need to create a prefab with that so we can use them randomly as we need it. We also discussed colliders and collisions and how can we detect how the objects interact with each other physically. Eventually this will lead to destroying the game objects according to those collisions. And we will also have a similar behavior but a different approach to destroying the objects when we program the bullets and how the bullets work, because when we have two planes touching each other they will explode immediately, but when we shoot against an alien we need some kind of score to kill the alien, so to figure it out a way of counting how many bullets we are hitting. Before we continue, I just go to open this movement script that it's here from the first tutorial, and I will just comment everything. Inside the class I will comment everything. I need to close here. So this is no longer available, which means these warnings over here will no longer appear. I'm not deleting the movement yet because maybe you have something here that can be useful. So let's start with the animations. Let's open here the game sprite map. Let's edit and let's add the other animations. We need the explosion animation, it's up here. We need the smoke animation, it's here. And we need the particles animation. So let's do the explosion. We select one frame, we give it a name, explosion. I will copy this already. Explosion 1. Well, explosion with capital letter. Copy. Explosion 1. And I will do this for the others. Explosion 2, enter, and so on and so on. And now I will do an empty frame. Can be only 1 pixel if you want. Explosion 9. So I'm making sure that if somehow the explosion is not deleted, at least the last frame is empty so we cannot see it. Apply. Let's do already the others. This will be particles and the same technique will appear. Particles, copy 1. As the others, I need an empty frame. Particles 4. I don't need the empty frame, but it's a good practice to have an empty frame at the end if it's not a loop. This is smoke. Smoke 1. And we can have an empty frame. Smoke 7. Okay. Everything is mapped correctly. Apply. I can close this. So now I have here my frames. So let's create the animations. I select the first frame and the last frame. I drag it here. It will ask me where do I save this animation. I select the folder and call it explosion. And now I have here one object that has an animation inside. This is a game object. It has the sprite renderer to render the frame, and it has the animator that is using the controller explosion 1 and that explosion 1 controller has only one animation that is playing. Explosion 1. I will change the name to explosion. It kept the name of the first sprite, but explosion. Okay, so this is an object. If I need an explosion, I just need to have this object. I cannot drag the animation here. It doesn't allow me to have animations like this, because if I want to use an animation in a scene, it needs to be inside a controller, that needs to be inside an animator, that needs to be inside an object. And the object needs to have the sprite renderer. So it's a complex build to have an animation playing here. But if you want to use this animation again, you cannot just drag the animation there. So we will create this object that has only this animation, and we can use the object as the animation. I just need to drag this to the prefabs, and now I have explosions that I can use many times as I need. If I hit play, they will explode in loop, by the way, because it's a loop. So let's remove all of these explosions, and let's continue to edit this explosion over here. Before we go there, we need to go to the animation and we need to disable loop time. Okay, so now it doesn't loop. If we use the explosion there, we only have one play, and it stops at the end and stays stopped in the last frame. That's why I'm using an empty one. So now we need to remove the animation as soon as we don't need it anymore. So the planes crash, the animation is instantiated in the place it will happen, and at the end it needs to disappear. To do that, we need a script to kill this object, to destroy this object as soon as we don't need it anymore. I will create a script that uses two variables. This will be called wait and remove, for example. And as the name says, it will wait some time and remove the object. Wait and destroy goes inside explosion. And now we have here the script. Let's edit, and we just need two variables to work with this. They need to be public because we can change them later. Float wait to wait delay. Let's say equals 5. This is the default. And now we need another one to count the time. So float, we already did this in another script. Counter. And that's it. In the start function, counter goes to 0. We reset the counter. And in the update function, we will count. Counter equals to counter plus time delta time dot delta time. And if counter is greater or equal to wait delay, so if the counter reaches 5, we will destroy the object. Destroy the game object. This is referring to the game object where the script is. I will remove, no, that's it. I will remove the loop. I will put the loop again so you can see the 5 seconds passing. Explosion goes here. So this explosion should disappear after 5 seconds. Let's see. Yep, disappear. I didn't count the time, but yeah, it looks like 5 seconds. So now we need to put the correct number over there. So explosion is not 5 seconds, it's less than that. And how many time does the animation has? Well, let's do the math. Calculator. Our animation has 9 frames. Yes. And we have 12 frames per second. So we pick up 1 second and we divide by 12 seconds. So each frame has 0.083333 seconds. We know that we have 9 frames, so we multiply this by 9 frames and our animation should have 0.75 seconds. Okay, so this is how you do the math for an animation length. Anyway, we don't need to do this because when you go here, we have here the length. The number is there. So don't loop, and we know that after 0.75 seconds it will end. So let's go again on explosion and we put here 0.75, and now the explosion should disappear immediately after it plays. So explosion should disappear from here. Oh, sorry, let me remove this maximize on play. Yep, no explosion here. So if I drag another one, it plays and it goes away. Explosion, explosion, explosion. So this explosion is ready and it's working properly. So now the next thing we need to do is we can do the same thing for the other animations. For example, the particles and the smoke. So we just need to do the same process and we can use the same scripts. Let's do it. So particles just 4 frames. Let's drag here. It will be called particles. Let's change the name to particles. The controller is also particles. Let's put here also the wait and remove script. Particles animation, the triangle icon needs to be a loop. It cannot be a loop, and it has length of 0.333. So we go here, particles, with delay 0.33. Let's drag the particles to the prefab, and now we have an object that we can use when we need particles. Just drag there and we should have particles. It's super fast. It's just 3 frames, so the purpose of that is to have some kind of texture coming out when a bullet hits the target. Let's prepare the other one, the last one. So particles and explosion we can remove. These particles also. The next one is smoke. Smoke 1 to 7, drag here. It will be called smoke. Smoke, smoke, smoke. Smoke has the same behavior as the other ones. Smoke without 1. Let's change the name here also. Smoke, smoke. Okay, so this smoke should also not be a loop. The length is 0.583, so this smoke needs to be removed. 583. Okay, and the smoke will play, and half a second later will disappear. Super fast. Let's drag another smoke. Oh, I didn't create the prefab, so let's drag the smoke here. Okay. So every animation is ready. Let's go to the next chapter of this tutorial, which is collisions. To detect collisions on Unity, you need to have some extra components to your object. We just go here on Add Component. We are in the player. We go here on Add Component, and we will look for two things. We need inside the Physics 2D. This is the components dedicated to calculate to the interactions and physics simulations. So Physics 2D, you go here and you need two objects to have a proper collision being detected and working. So we need a rigid body 2D. I will close all of these behaviors. Okay, we have here rigid body 2D, and we will also need Physics 2D polygon collider. This component over here is responsible for simulating the physics of the object, and this one is the component that will limit the area that will be used to calculate the collision. This collider can be used as a collider, so one object pushes the other because they physically collide, but you can change the behavior of this collider and put it to work as a trigger, so they don't touch each other, but they report that they are touching. And it's what we are going to use. So we need to use our collider as a trigger, and for this to work properly, we need to have a body, and the body needs to be kinematic. We are forcing with script the movements, so we don't need to simulate physics. If we need to simulate physics, you go here. But in this case we don't need, so kinematic, and that's it. If I play, this object, this component is reporting collisions with other colliders, okay? But we need to fine-tune something here. We are in the player, we need to go on the collider, we click on this button, Edit Collider, and we need to reshape these edges. So this is our shape. It will detect collisions inside this shape. It's not pixel perfect, doesn't need to be. But if I'm going to collide with something, I need to have colliders in other objects also. So let's do the same thing for the alien. I will edit the prefab, double click, and I will do the same things here. Physics 2D, rigid body 2D, add component, physics 2D, polygon collider. I will reshape this geometry. And that's it. For me this is enough. It works as a trigger and is kinematic. So now we should have two objects that collide with each other. So alien 1 and player. So if I play, they will go through each other, nothing happens. Okay, very nice. So now let's create a script to detect this collision and to destroy the objects. When the plane crashes against other ship, it will be destroyed immediately. So create C# script. This will be called die on collision. Enter. And this script will be inside this one and inside this one. So this script will be responsible to kill the object when it collides with a specific target. And if we need to test 10 targets, we can use the script 10 times with different names. But now, die on collision doesn't have anything. Let's open it and add here some variables. We need two public variables to detect the target, the tag of the target, and we need to know which object is the explosion, because when we die we need to explode, and so we need to have the explosion prefab to instantiate the explosion when we remove the plane. So let's do the variables to the game object. That will be called explosion prefab. Let's do another public string. String is a word, and this string is a word because we need to tell the name of the tag that we are going to detect. So let's call it the tag to trigger. And now we don't need the start function and we don't need the update function. Start happens in the beginning, update happens every frame, but we need another function that happens when the collision starts. And in this case we are going to use on is not a collision because the collider is configured as a trigger. So on trigger, it has 3 different flavors. One of them is enter. On trigger enter, this needs to have a variable here to put collider of the other object. When I hit something, that something will be stored in this variable. The type is a collider, and it will be called other. Don't forget, this happens a lot. This is correct, but this is for 3D space. We are working with 2D colliders, so we need to specify that we are talking to on trigger enter 2D and the collider 2D. So when the collision happens, this function will be called, and whatever is inside here will happen. We don't do this on update. We need to do this on this specific function. The first thing we are going to do, instantiate the explosion prefab at transform position with quaternion identity. It will instantiate an explosion in the same position of the plane with the same rotation of the plane. Okay, we need to make sure that this other object that we are colliding is an object with a specific tag. So to do that, we do an if statement to test if the other tag is the tag we are looking for. So if other, the other object that is here already, but this is the collider, so we need to go back a little bit. Other game object, and we need now to see the tag of the game object, tag. If other game object tag it's equal to tag to trigger, then we put the name there. So if we are colliding with the correct object, we do this. We instantiate the explosion and we destroy this game object. And it should be okay. Let's see. No, an error. The name transform does not exist because it's missing an S. Okay, no error. So I have the script here. Explosion prefab. I need to put it there. Explosion. And when this collides with something, it will check for a specific tag. This tag is enemy. So every object that has an enemy tag will kill this plane instantly. How can I tag objects? I go here on player, for example. Let's go to the player, and here on top you have the tag menu. click here and you select player. You do the same thing for the aliens. Let's select the prefab so all the aliens have the same tag. Go here and select enemy. Well, we don't have enemy, so we add a new tag. Let's add a tag enemy. Enemy is here. So let's go alien 1 should be enemy. Let's see if it works. Oh, before that, let's do the same thing for the alien. So the alien also has the script. Not yet. Let's drag the script. Die on collision. Die on collision needs to know what is the explosion and the time to trigger the explosion. Player. The player will kill the alien will kill the player. Let's hit play, and they should explode, be removed from the scene, and instantiate an explosion when they touch each other. Nice! It's working. So, this script can be used on any object that needs to disappear when colliding with something with a specific tag. Next step would be making the bullets destroy the aliens and the alien bullets destroy the player. That is a little bit complex because I don't want one bullet to kill the player and I don't want one bullet to kill the alien. I want, for example, 3 bullets to kill the alien and 10 bullets to kill the player. And to do that, we need to use a different approach on how to implement this communication between the objects. So the bullet, it's the target, and it will communicate to that target that a hit has happened. And the target will analyze the situation and decide by itself if it is being destroyed or not. So to do that, we need 2 scripts, one inside the bullet, and every time the bullet touches the object, it will call the script inside the object and says, check if the life is okay, if it's not, destroy the object. For that to work, we need to have physical bullets. So we need to go to the player bullet and do the same thing as we did. Physics 2D, rigid body, kinematic, add component, physics 2D. This can be a box collider because the bullet is a rectangle. Box collider, and it's done. We can do the same thing for the alien bullet. Oh, this needs to be is trigger. Done. Alien bullet, same thing. Physics 2D. We need to have a rigid body. Kinematic. And we also need to have rigid body, box collider. This is not technically a box, but we can adjust a little bit. Let's remove the impact from the light and let's keep in the red part of the laser. Yeah, we shoot bullets, aliens shoot laser, because aliens are always more advanced than us, but we always win the game. So now we have bullets that have physical properties and they can be used to detect collisions. Now we need the scripts that will handle those collisions and will talk to each object. So first let's deal with the target script. So let's say scripts, create new C# script, and I will create one script called object life. This will be handling the life of this object or that object or whatever object I put this script on. So let's drag this to the player and, by the way, to the alien. So this script will handle the life of the object. Here we need to have 2 variables, public int. let's keep it on int numbers. Life equals, I don't know, 5. We can change this later. By default is 5. We need another variable, public game object. If this is handling the life, it will eventually destroy the object, so we need to have an explosion. Explosion prefab goes here, and now we need to do something to count the life and to explode if necessary. This script will not do it by itself, but the bullet will call this script to do something. And the way of doing that is to have a function that we can call from the outside. So this is called by Unity every frame, yeah, but we need something hours. So instead of update or start or whatever it is, we will create our own function. The function to be accessed from outside needs to be public. It will return nothing, and it will be called I don't know, decrease and destroy. Decrease and destroy. No, decrease and kill. And there's no arguments necessary, so this is empty, and we open and close brackets. So every time we call this, we do something, and that something is decrease the life first. So life equals life minus 1. Okay, this is the short version of, this is the long version of minus equal, or even shorter, life minus minus. This means decrease one value. This is the same as life minus equal to 1, and this is the same as, by the way, I let here this reference, this is the same as life equals life minus 1. So this is 3 different ways of doing the same thing. This is faster to write, but you need to have experience to know what this means. Anyone can read this. So life decrease one value, and we test if life is equal to 0. We do what? If the life is 0, we kill the object. So we instantiate the explosion. Transform position. So we transform. Why I do this? Transform position with the quaternion identity. After we instantiate the explosion, we delete the object. So we destroy the game object where this script is. That should be the plane, for example. So when I call this function, and I can call it from whatever script I have because it's public, when I call this will run once, and it will decrease the life, test if life is 0. If it is, it will instantiate an explosion and will destroy the object. So now this is inside the object that is going to be killed, aliens or planes or whatever. And now we need to have another script inside the bullet that will call for that specific function. So let's create another one. Create C# script, and let's call it bullet impact score. I don't know, maybe bullet impact score. And let's put this bullet impact score inside every bullet, alien bullet and player bullet. We will detect the impact as in the same way as we detect the collisions between the alien and the plane. So we need to detect the tag, public string object tag, and now we don't need anything of this. We just need a void on trigger enter 2D collider 2D variable called other, and then we test the tag first, and then we call for the other function. If other game object tag is equal to object tag, we do two things. We call the other function and we destroy this bullet. So destroy game object. This is the last thing to do, and before that we do other. Now we will call the function on the other object, so we call to the other game object, other dot game object dot. Now we need to get the component where the function is. So to access this function, we need to call the function inside the class. So let's get the class first. Get component. Which component I'm talking about? Object live component. Object live with no arguments. And now we call the function dot. The function is called decrease and kill. Copy. Paste. Decrease and kill. We close the statement. So this line over here will do other game object get component object live run decrease and kill. Okay, we don't have any problems. So the player bullet will target enemies and the alien bullet will target player. So this bullet, every time it touches a player object, will call the component object live and it will run the function that will decrease this and it will kill the object if this is 0. I'm missing here an explosion, and life of the player could be 10. Alien 1 needs to have object life. This one will be killed in 2 shots and explosion needs to go here. Explosion is here. I will just copy this component, copy component, and now I go to Alien 2, select one menu and paste component as new. This will die in 3 shots. It's harder to kill. In Alien 3, it has a lot of shield, so it will paste component as new. It will die on 3 shots, so it's harder to kill. Let's save and let's see if this is working. Before going there, let me check if the bullets have the necessary components. It will target the enemy. Yes, this will target the player and that has rigid body. And collider is not trigger, it needs to be trigger. Okay, the other one. Okay, looks like they are okay. Oh no, they are not okay. Alien 2 and Alien 3 don't have physics yet. So let's add Alien 2 and Alien 3, rigid body 2D. This needs to be kinematic. And let's add, here needs to be a polygon collider 2D. Let's open it, click. Let's shape it a little bit, change the shape a little bit. This will be enough. And okay, so this is the shape of our Alien 3. Is trigger has the correct shape and is kinematic. Let's go to Alien 2, do the same, physics 2D, rigid body 2D, kinematic, add component to physics 2D, polygon collider, is trigger. Let's change the polygon shape. I'm doing it a little bit smaller than the pixel because it's annoying when we lose by 1 pixel. So we can define that, okay, if it's just a pixel, who cares? So we can simplify the shape to something more rough in terms of the real shape of the object. So let's go out of the editor of the prefab, save, let's zoom out a little bit, and let's see if it works. Play. I didn't test. Okay, the bullets disappear when they touch, so they are detecting the collision. Mine also, not in that one, I don't know why. That one, it's not working also. Oh, I'm not exploding with those. I guess I'm missing the tag. And number 1 is exploding, but it's not dying. So let's check if they have the proper tag. Enemy. Oh, this is not enemy. Now it is. Alien 3 needs to be enemy. Alien bullet doesn't have a tag. Player bullet doesn't have a tag. Player has a... This player is not my player. Okay, let's override apply all. So now this player is the same as this player. This player has a tag player. Okay, should be working. Okay, bullets are working, bullets are working, my bullets are killing. 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and this 1, 2. Okay, I guess they are working. Let's say Alien 3 will be killed in 5 shots, Alien 2 will be killed in 3 shots, and Alien 1 will be killed in 2 shots. I will be killed in 10 shots. Let's see. Yeah, very nice. Very difficult to destroy those big ships over here. So I guess that's it. Let's see. I talk about a key to change the scene. Let's do quickly a script. New script, create new C# script, and this will be called load scene on key. Load scene on key. Why? Because I want a script to restart the scene without having to click on this button over here because it takes too long to click there. So let's create here a new empty object here on this inside the scene we are working on. Let's create here a new empty object. This empty object will be called script. I do an underscore before so it doesn't look like the others. And this doesn't have anything, just have a transform. We can reset the position, but it's not important. So this is just an empty object. It just exists in the world. And we are going to use this script object to have scripts that don't belong to any other object. For example, change scene on key. Where is the change scene on key? Load scene on key, sorry. Load scene on key goes inside the scripts. And load scene on key will load this scene again. To do that, we need to have two variables. Public string, one with the name of the key, key to trigger, and another with the name of the scene we want to load. Scene to load. We go here. If input.get key down is the same as key to trigger, we will scene manager dot load scene, and we call the scene we want to load. Inside here we will put scene to load. Copy paste. I will save and I will show you something. This will throw me an error. It says the name scene manager does not exist in the current context. Well, maybe it's a typo. Let's see where is wrong. No, everything is correct. So why doesn't this work? This doesn't work because the scene manager is a set of commands and functions that are inside using, so Unity engine dot scene management save. No, I guess not. So yeah, scene manager is inside a library that is in scene management. It's a sub-library of this one. So if we need to use this kind of commands, we need to have another library providing those commands. Okay, so now we can have this script over here. Key to trigger, I will use the R key. Scene to load, this scene is called level 1. Level 1, so anytime I press the R button, the level 1 will be load. But it will throw us another error if I try, because only scenes inside the build settings can be called. So I need to go here on build settings. The only scene that is here is the sample scene. Because I'm working on the level 1 scene, I need to have this scene over here. By the way, the scene that is on top is the one that will open first if you build the game. Will not build yet. So let's just close. This is here. It's what we need. Let's close this window. And this should work properly. Play. If I click on R, so let's say I explode. Okay, I click on R to restart, and everything restarts again. Okay, so I can play and kill the aliens. Let's see if I die after 10 times. I get hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Okay, I die with bullets, I die with collisions. Let's test the collisions with others. I will not remove the play, I will just reset the scene. Number 2, I die. Oh, but number 2 doesn't die with me. Okay, reset. Number 3, I die, but number 3 doesn't die with me. So, 2 problems to solve. And number 1, where is number 1? I guess number 1 was already tested before. Oh, it also does not kill itself. Why? Let's see what the aliens have wrong. Oh, the aliens 1, 2, and 3 don't have that script that detects a collision. So script, I don't know why. Alien 1 should have this die on collision. Die on collision, explosion, and it will be triggered playing with colliding with player. Let's copy this component. Let's go on Alien 2, paste component as new, Alien 3, paste component as new. Let's play, and let's see if it's working right now. Yeah, Alien dies. Let's restart. Number 3, that was weird, but yeah, dies. And restart again. Number 2, where is the number 2? Oh, it's there. Come on. Number 2 dies also, so it's working. Of course, we need to do the same thing for the boss. So the boss die on collision. No, the boss don't die on collision. It's super hard. If I collide against the boss, I die. It doesn't. Life, object life, the boss will have 20 shots to be killed. Explosion is the same explosion. It needs to be tagged as enemy. It needs to have a body. So physics 2D, rigid body 2D, needs to be kinematic. Needs to have a polygon collider, physics 2D, polygon collider 2D. Let's go on alien boss and let's edit the collider so it has more or less the correct shape. So now we should have the necessary scripts and behaviors to, oh, the collider needs to be triggered. Kinematic trigger, okay. So now we have everything that we need to have a proper level working. Let's try. I will bring the boss a little bit down because it's too much up. Let's enable the background again. Okay. The background starts at 27.4. Let's put it already there. Okay. Alien boss can start here. Let's arrange now, let's fine tune the numbers. So the background goes at 1, okay. The boss can be just a tiny bit faster. So boss can move at 1.1. aliens. Let's see, Alien 3 can be the second faster, so it moves 1.5. Alien 2 will be 3. Alien 1 will be the fighter, so it will be 5 to move super fast. Maybe it's too fast, let me see. Maybe it's a little bit too fast. This speed is okay for these ones, but the fighter is too fast. Yeah, I cannot catch it. I can give more speed to the player instead of give more speed to the alien. So player movement, let's add side speed 8, forward speed 5 is okay, 6. So the player is a little bit faster, and these speeds are okay. They shoot down every 5 seconds. No, this one will shoot faster. A little bit to 3. Okay, every 3 seconds. Alien 2 will shoot every 2.5. Alien 1 will be shoot every 2 seconds. I guess this is okay. Play. And now we need to test to see if these numbers are a good experience, or if we cannot even start to play. So it is very difficult to kill because they need to die faster. Of course, I also need to avoid bullets because I will die eventually before the boss appears. Here is the boss. Let's see if I can kill the boss. Yes, I can kill the boss. So the thing is working. Let's just go here, maximize and play. And I guess that's it. The game is, these mechanics, these collisions and these detections are working. And I guess in the next video we will work sound and other details as printing the score in the screen or something like that, so we know exactly what's happening. And that's it. See you in the next one.